When a wolf comes in, dressed in sheep's clothing, he acts like a sheep, baas like a sheep, smells like a sheep. But the moment he opens his mouth, the fangs of a wolf are there, and he knows exactly what he's doing. And his main goal is not to be integrated with the sheep so he can just become one of them. His goal is to destroy the sheep. I don't find it strange that 2 paragraphs before this particular passage, Jesus talks about the broad way and the broad gate. The narrow way, the narrow gate. It's not by coincidence. In other words, he is telling us that these false prophets, as deceptive as they are, they talk around Jesus. They talk about Jesus, but they don't point people to Jesus. They mention God. They talk about God, but they don't acknowledge that he is who he says he is. They talk around the cross. They talk about the cross, but they don't point people to the cross. We tell people constantly that who are struggling with sin that the only way for freedom and to experience freedom is to experience Jesus Christ. The only way that you can be freed from sin and shame is to accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and as their Savior. In other words, the person that we are talking to, we are telling them that the first thing they've got to do is understand who Jesus is. He is the Savior of the world, and he came to save the souls from sin. He came for one purpose, and that is to break the bondage of sin in the hearts and lives of the masses. That he came to deliver those from selfishness and idol worship and those things. He came to bring that person peace. But if you notice, the false prophet, as he is so deceptive, he puts in a little error with that truth just to sweeten the pot just enough to where the sinner, the individual, doesn't come to the realization that my sins are going to lead me to hell. And that in order for me to experience salvation, I need to accept Jesus Christ. No. This false prophet has a false message to where it puffs up the individual and says, you really don't need to go to that church. You really don't need to know the message of the cross. They know just enough to twist it, to make it appealing to the masses.